Do you want to get disciplined, but whenever it comes time to actually perform the discipline, your brain is just like, nah, and then you just go on to goof off and do something else only to feel bad about it later? Well, what if instead of that, you could activate the same part of your brain that drives you to incessantly grind a video game or binge a TV show for hours and use that power to make you want to execute and kick some ass? I'm talking about triggering a big, juicy dopamine hit on demand that makes you love acting out your disciplines. Well, this is possible. But the big obstacle that you're facing in regard to discipline is that your brain has attached discipline to a pain circuit, where anytime you think about your discipline, you just feel stress or pressure or resistance that makes it very difficult to follow through. We can fix this quite simply, though, through creating a pleasure circuit by focusing upon a specific mental image I call an anchor vision that allows you to jumpstart your brain and inspires you to act. There are 3 steps that you can follow to hack your brain to crave discipline through this anchor vision method. The first step is to create the anchor vision. Step number 2 is to access the anchor vision. And step number 3 is to reinforce the anchor vision. And when done correctly, you basically gain a magic discipline button in your head that you can press whenever you need to power your productive action. So all you got to do is keep watching to learn how to do this. So let's dive in with step number 1 here. We got to create this thing called an anchor vision. So to understand what an anchor vision is, let's just break stuff down a little bit. First, we'll start with the discipline, okay? So this is like the actual habit that you're trying to form or the action you're trying to get yourself to take. And by itself, this thing is not particularly interesting. It's really just a means to an end. So for example, when you think about just getting yourself to go to the gym or getting yourself to do that project you've been putting off, that project itself, it's just a mechanism. It's a means to transport you to a goal, okay? And just by itself, usually that's not the exciting part. And often we focus on just trying to get ourselves to do the thing, but naturally, that's not particularly inspiring to us. What we want to start looking toward is the result, okay? This is the big outcome. It's like, what does your habit let you do? What does it give you in your life? Okay, so it's like, if you work out, then you're going to get stronger, etc., and that sort of thing. And that's more compelling, but usually it still lacks that neurochemical juice to really motivate us consistently. What the anchor vision is, all right, that's really all about the experience of the result. Okay, it's like how your life will meaningfully be different once you have achieved, the big outcome. Okay, we want to figure out what this thing is. It's very much like a snapshot. It's an image, and when we can encapsulate that in a way that's very compelling to us, well, we have access to a tremendous amount of motivational power. And so you see this, we travel along this arrow here, and it's over here. This is where we want to be. Okay. This is what we want to be using to motivate ourselves. This is like the carrot that we need to learn how to dangle in front of ourselves to get our brain to work for us. So let's run some examples so you know what I'm talking about here, okay? So let's say your discipline, like I was saying, is lifting weights, okay? Well, your result would be bigger muscles, okay? But we want to take it a step further. How does your life change if you get bigger muscles? And how does it change particularly in a way that, like, when you think about it, it's like, ooh, I want that thing, okay? So, maybe if you're married and you want to get your wife more interested in you, maybe it's this vision of like you popping your shirt off outside, do some yard work, and your wife just can't stop peeking out at you, being like, oh, damn, he's sexy. And, eventually maybe even calling you inside because she needs something from you, all right? That is that could be an image for a guy who wants to have a great sexual relationship with his wife. He can use that as a way to inspire himself to lift those weights, build those muscles. But the thing is, you're going to have to find something that really works for you. Maybe that's not inspiring to you. Maybe for you, you just want to be able to take your shirt off at the beach or the pool and feel confident in yourself. Maybe you catch some looks or your bros are like, damn, dude, you been lifting? Imagine the scenario that motivates you. In a lot of ways, you can think about this as a commercial. You're looking for a commercial to sell yourself the discipline, to make it seem truly worthwhile. And unless it's emotionally compelling, you're not going to act on it. So let's do another example here, okay? Maybe the discipline that you want to be doing is quitting porn, Okay. And the result would be maybe your productivity goes up, your confidence goes up, and your guilt goes down. There could be other things there too for your situation. Maybe it's the removal of sexual dysfunction, whatever. Okay. You'll list out your results, but ultimately what you're looking for is that meaningful experience in your life that this could give you access to. So back when I was quitting porn, I struggled a lot to just build my business. I was trying to become a coach, but all I did was just kind of jerk off all day instead. And this really ate me up. And so the vision that motivated me was being able to tell my family that I landed my first coaching client. Okay. Because I knew I was not going to be able to do that unless I quit porn. All right. And so by having that in my mind, that's what kept me going. That's what let me get through those tough cravings. It might take a little work for you to dial in your anchor vision, but once you find it, you're going to know it because it's going to feel powerful to you. And so, you got to be creative. You got to let yourself visualize, let yourself daydream a little bit about what you want to have happen. I know many guys, they have issues with fantasizing too much and not actually taking enough action. Well, this is a part where you can turn your fantasizing into actual productive visualization. Find that little movie script moment in your life where you get to be the hero because you practice that discipline. So once you have your anchor vision, the next step is we need to access it, specifically at the right times. Okay. So imagine you're just going along your day. And then what's going to happen is you're going to reach a decision point. Okay. This is where you're going to choose to either enact the discipline or not. The wrong way to do it is to follow this path here and start thinking about easier pleasure. Okay. So it's like, if it's time to go to the gym and you just start thinking about, I really want to watch this podcast, or just sitting on the couch and watching some TV right now sounds great. Okay. What's going to happen is that's what's going to inspire you. You're going to run into failure. You will not make the progress because basically your brain will be thinking about that. Okay. Instead, what you have to do is you got to think about and feel about that anchor vision. And this is what leads you to success. So you got to bring that image up. You got to put that in your mind and be like, do I want this incredibly compelling vision, or do I want this lesser, easier pleasure? And notice I said thinking and feeling, about this. All right. You want to try and get your emotional self into that moment. Let yourself imagine what it would be like to have that thing. The more you can activate your emotional circuitry in this process, the more powerful it'll be. And in the final step here, we need to reinforce this vision. Okay, so here what we have is the habit cycle. Okay, so it starts with a trigger. Okay, it could be a certain time of day when it's time to go to the gym. Maybe it's like, you get a craving for porn, whatever the thing is that is setting you off to be like, all right, now's the time for discipline. Okay, so you get a trigger and then you get a behavior. All right. So it's either, staying clean from porn, or it's, doing the productive work, or it's going to the gym. Okay. That's the thing we want. But then the thing that really reinforces it all is a reward. Okay. You got to have something good happen, and it has to feel good. And this is where most guys get stuck, is that when they perform the discipline, it doesn't necessarily feel great in the moment. Sometimes it's actually uncomfortable. And if that's all they experience, well then guess what? There's no cycle here. It doesn't feed back into itself. Your dopamine is never going to start flowing toward that new habit. There has to be some kind of pleasure hit that occurs. And so the key to making that happen is that you have to celebrate your wins. This is the big key. All right. You have to let yourself be that man in your anchor vision. And so what does that mean? Well, you use the anchor vision to inspire you to take the action, but then afterward you have to be like, hell yeah, man, you are this guy. It's just a matter of time between you actually experiencing that end result, right? You have to believe that you are becoming him. Let yourself feel good about it. And this celebration of wins is a major thing that I focus on with my work with guys, is because it's so necessary, because so many guys, they'll just be in a state where if they do something good, well, then they're doing what's expected. And if they do something bad, well, then they'll beat themselves up. So they're like in the situation where they can either maintain the status quo of what's expected, or they can feel like shit. They almost never have the opportunity to feel good about themselves because they don't celebrate their progress. All right. You have to be willing to celebrate your wins because that's what creates the dopamine hit, that feel good affirmation from yourself. That's what then makes it easier and easier to continue to show up and do the things that really matter to you. This process is incredibly powerful. If you get a good anchor vision dialed in and you learn how to access it, and then you make sure you reinforce it by celebrating the times where you follow through, then you are going to see a major upgrade in your ability to enact discipline. In fact, you might even come to absolutely love it. However, you can run into some challenges along the way. Okay, so maybe you keep forgetting about your vision, or maybe you're having trouble dialing in your habit plan. You're not sure exactly what habit to do. Maybe it just, you pick stuff that's too hard or it's too easy and it feels like you're going too slow, and you lose some steam with it. Or maybe you start dealing with doubt and negativity, right? You start getting caught in your own head, becoming your own worst enemy in this process. Or maybe your addictive cravings just feel way too strong. It's possible. The things in our world today are incredibly addictive, and that impulse to escape might feel absolutely overwhelming that you can't even access your anchor vision in the moment. Okay, so what can you do about this? Well, you're in luck because I have a new training called End Your Escapism. And all you got to do is click the link to it in the description or in my bio to get access to it. And in this training, I'll teach you how to solve all of these problems. Okay. And I'll teach you a full framework for making sure that you can show up and become the man that you really want to be. So that's what I have for you guys in this video. I hope you got a ton out of it. If you did, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, share it with a friend, all that good stuff. But otherwise, I will see you all in the next one. Ooyap.